Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast. Podcast where two middle-aged, cynical and jaded Scottish wrestling fans try to find any modicum of joy through the greatest form of entertainment in history, professional wrestling. This episode we're continuing to wade through the trenches of WWF in 1999 as we make our way to Buffalo, New York for Fully Loaded. We'll also discuss the new documentary, Nevermore, The Raven Effect, which chronicles the career of Johnny Polo, or as you know him, Adam, Scotty Flamingo. So, wading through the trenches is apt, is it?
There's a lot of wading, yeah.
There's a lot of wading. Yeah, Fully Loaded, July 1999. Feels like it's taken a while to... It's been a few years to get through this 7 months.
Yes, is that all we've covered? And we even skipped some, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because we covered some in before, and we, I think, decided not to do or go anywhere near Over the Edge.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, we covered Backlash, and we decided not to, so we've jumped... So we've done like 3 months.
That's surprising.
Vince Russo's reputation is very well earned. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Crazy how much we did not see this at the time. Do you think if this was you watching this for the first time that you wouldn't like wrestling?
Maybe. I think because I loved it as a kid, and then I had a gap, and then I went back in, and I wonder if it was me now going back in and this is what was on. I do think I'd be like, I did the right thing, just leaving this aside.
Yeah, you maybe have to have watched this and enjoyed it to get to the point that we're at now. I don't even... This is the thing. This is the perplexing thing. I've definitely said this before. I don't even know if I know what kind of wrestling I like anymore. Because we've watched so much and talked about so much and probably criticised so much. Yeah. I'm not even sure what I like anymore. I thought this is what I liked. I thought I liked the chaos and the storylines. But it's definitely not. I can tell you that much.
If we decided, right, we're doing some golden age, and there was all this stuff that was like around WrestleMania 1, we're like, right, we'll watch this and then get through WrestleMania 1 and be like, why is everyone moving in slow motion? Why is nothing happening?
I could see it. I could definitely see it. But then I have really fond memories of us watching the WCW, Halloween Havocs. I have really good memories of some of the TNA. I've enjoyed, and both of us have enjoyed the, what on earth do you call it? The TV show?
Lucha Underground.
There was a King of the Ring that Brett won that was amazing.
Yeah, I think maybe the problem is we keep looking at, we'll go from here to here, and maybe there's like one good show, and the rest of it's just dross. Maybe, remember quite a few of the Halloween Havocs were good and then they weren't. So maybe we were just getting quite lucky in some years, like, this is actually the best show there was that year. Maybe.
Yeah. I do think that like somewhere around the early 90s to mid 90s seems to be like a nice sweet spot. Because we enjoyed our Raws and stuff when we were doing the New Generation, actually.
Yeah. It's funny.
And then they moved to Netflix.
It's funny because that was like a down, financially anyway, a down period. Like, not many people were watching. Maybe we just don't like the same stuff as everyone else.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Let's go through this pay-per-view and then we can talk about the Raven documentary after, which I assume we both really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Okay. Fully Loaded kicks us off with one of these. Say the same thing for every pay-per-view now. 1999 pay-per-views. Kicks us off with a great video package. We now understand what's going on.
Yeah.
We have got about a gazillion stipulation matches. We've also got a million belts on the line. I think every single belt changes hands that's on the line.
Oh, does it? I don't think that had come together in my head.
Was Undertaker champion going in?
That's a good question.
I think he was. And I assume they did the whole, like, every title changes hands to make you think that Austin wouldn't win the title.
Okay, yeah.
It's a swerve, bro.
It seems, because we kick it off with the Intercontinental title. And that, when you say that, that does make it sound like this was intentional, because what we're told is that the Edge stepped in for the missing Ken Shamrock. He didn't turn up and won the IC title against Jarrett at the Sky Dome just a few days before
a house
this.
show. Yeah.
And then you're thinking, this is weird, because we've not really established Edge yet in the tag with Christian. Is he getting an Intercontinental run here? No, he's not. No, he's getting a couple of days as Intercontinental Champion.
I think we've rumbled them. This is what they wanted to do. They wanted to make you think that the title wasn't changing hands, and Austin would never be able to challenge for the title anymore, and he would languish in mediocrity, as Vince said.
Well, I suppose the thing is, when we do get to that title match, there's some pretty heavy stipulations that neither was ever going to be respected. Neither of those outcomes was going to be respected, I think.
What was the other? What was it the other way?
If Austin wins, Vince will not be seen on TV again.
How did they pick that up? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
okay.
You take these with a pinch of salt, I think.
Like, Edge is barely established here.
Yeah.
He can't have been in the company for a year.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about this match. It's the same old shit with Deborah. And
there's a couple of things going on. Like, they've planted some issues, which I think we saw the beginning of previously between Edge and Gangrel. Gangrel has kind of turned on Edge and thrown him out of the Brood, and is describing him as having been the weak link in the Brood, which is why he is going to sabotage or try to. I can't think if it actually plays it. Nah, it doesn't really. Tries to sabotage Edge quickly with a bloodbath in this match, which Edge ends up pouring all over Gangrel. And then
just stands and stares at him, smiling.
Yeah.
For an insanely long time.
Yeah, I think the finish I think Edge accidentally runs into Deborah on the turnbuckle and knocks her down. He's concerned, but a revived Gangrel clotheslines Edge with the ropes, and Jarrett's going to get his title back.
Great stuff. I mean, his t-shirt does say "Don't piss me off." So our next match is one that you'd talked about beforehand. I think you'd talked about this is how they end up turning, they being the Hardy Boys, turn on Michael Hayes. It's a 3-on-2. The Hardys are the champions taking on the Acolytes. I don't know how they got to the 3-on-2 and the champions having more in their team than the challengers, but we'll look past that. Very similar to the last pay-per-view where it was Hardys versus Edge and Christian. Very early days for the Hardys. It's actually surprising they've put the titles on them so early.
They do spend a chunk of this match, Jeff in particular, I think, getting his ass kicked by the Acolytes.
Bumping about, yep. You just, and do you know what? It's funny, I listened to an episode of the Conrad thing with Bradshaw. I don't know if he's still doing it anymore, but he sounds so jovial. Yeah. And then you see him here, and he's like going above and beyond as far as being stiff in the ring.
Yeah, I mean,
smashing these young men.
I don't know if this is just a guy who's like, at this point he's probably fighting to work for a living, and now I don't think he ever has to work another day in his life, and he's just having a laugh going around doing wrestling stuff. But yeah, like everything I've heard, everything you see on screen, I just assume he's an asshole here.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't come across as much of an asshole now, but I don't know if that's just because I quite like, he's quite a good storyteller.
Farouk as well, I felt like. Farouk was, these spine busters are just fucking horrendous.
I can see that. I do wonder if part of it is, there's these young kids that have come in. Going to have to be a little bit stiff with them, teach them how this business really works. I don't get the impression they legit hurt them in a bad way, but it looked like a lot of the things they were doing would have hurt a bit, just for a minute or so. Yeah.
I think they were going stiff on that youngster Michael Hayes as well, by the looks of some of these punches and clotheslines being laid in.
Yeah, I was fairly sure they were both quite enjoying that with Michael Hayes.
Yeah. I thought that as well. Yeah. We get quite a similar spot to what we got last month, where Jeff is running across the ring and he's going to use Matt to catapult himself up in the air, and Bradshaw just hits him with a huge stiff lariat and folds him in half in the air. It's a wonder these guys got to the age that they're at. They're still wrestling. Like Matt Hardy does a moonsault to the outside. Nobody catches him. He just lands himself.
I was going to say they're such good sellers, but if they were just in there getting their ass kicked, that's maybe quite easy.
No choice. As predicted, Michael Hayes is the one who takes the pin here. I think he takes like a double power bomb or something like that. Yeah. I would like to have seen him take the Dominator, but that was the only disappointing aspect.
Yeah.
And the Acolytes win the titles.
Yeah, so we didn't get like a big bust up, but I think the seeds are planted. I don't think they'll be with Michael Hayes much longer here. They're clearly frustrated with him.
Yeah. I wonder if by SummerSlam if we'll have Gangrel with the Hardys.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. The next match is for the European title. We have D'Lo Brown taking on the champion Mideon, and from what I could put together, either Shane McMahon had just given Mideon the title, or Mideon had like found it in Shane's bag or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe a combination of the two things. So I think Mideon maybe found it, and then Shane just was basically, "Oh, you can have that. That's you. Now you're that." D'Lo looked in incredible shape.
Aye, he did.
I think it's mentioned a couple of times. There's not an awful lot interesting going on here. I do like D'Lo Brown. I've got in my notes that Mideon was I accidentally upped the speed of my video to 1.5 and Mideon's running around like Prince Puma.
Class.
It was accidental, I promise.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely did not use that little 10-second thing that you have on Netflix for any of these matches. So it's a weird thing to think of as Mideon as European champion. It doesn't seem to mesh together at all.
Nah. D'Lo's going to win this with a frog splash. He got his title back. There's someone in the crowd holding up a sign that says, "I'm here to whip Austin's ass."
I saw that. I like that. Now, I forgot something. At the end of the very first match, the glass shatters and Austin comes flying into the ring and stunners Jeff Jarrett.
That's right, he does.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was this one, but we get a sort of ongoing storyline throughout this pay-per-view that because Austin and Undertaker's a first blood match, Undertaker had already burst Austin's head open on the heat prior. So Austin's looking for revenge before it. So he's sort of tearing about backstage looking for the Undertaker, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wants to even things up a bit.
And is this round about the time that Jarrett would have said, what did Jarrett say, that he was on Austin's level or something like that? He was to get heat for.
It was just when he was it just when he came back in, I think. So I think that was a bit before this.
Oh,
but
right,
I think Austin would have since then done the I'm not working with him thing, which I think was all over a sort of mocking Austin's payday when Jarrett was the more established guy, when they were in Jerry Jarrett's territory, I think.
I remember seeing them talk about it on the Smoking Skull sessions, and they were throwing water on it, and I don't know where the story came from and all this sort of stuff.
So I think I get the impression that Jarrett maybe thought he was saying it like it was a joke, and Austin didn't take it as a joke. So it was like he had his check in front of him. It wasn't very much, and Jarrett said something like, "You can look at it all night, son, but ain't going to get any bigger, ha ha," or something like that. And yeah, just being a bit of an asshole. And I think Austin took it quite personally.
Yeah, you've got that laugh down, by the way. I like that. Next match is for the hardcore title. This was fast forward.
Yeah,
for me, this is fucking awful.
So
Big Boss Man and Al Snow.
They've got Al Snow like going through some stuff here. I mean, he's like hearing voices in his head, and he'd been begging to be hit with the nightstick and all that. That was all in the package before the match, and I thought, are they going to do anything a wee bit interesting then? But really, nah, it's just kind of more of the same.
So Big Boss Man must have rammed a spike through Head's head.
Yeah.
And he was hitting the spike with his nightstick, and it appeared to be hurting Al Snow. Al Snow, yeah. This is hilarious, and we are the biggest hypocrites for this, because if they were doing this on Lucha Underground, we'd have thought it was fucking brilliant.
It's the right environment for it.
But doing it here, it just looked so kooky and just nonsense.
Yeah.
Absurd.
I think that was the moment I realised they're not going to use this Al Snow hearing voices to be anything interesting. They're just going to keep doing the same joke, but go a bit further with it.
I think they must. They're making their way towards Pepper.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. I think Pepper may have involvement at SummerSlam.
Kennel from Hell or whatever it is.
I hope not.
Big Boss Man weirdly wins the title by pinning Al Snow against a fence.
Mm-hmm.
When he's handcuffing him, I was thinking, there's no way he's getting his shoulders to the ground.
Yeah, I didn't know if this was sort of the opposite of the issue that Savage and Crush had when he tried to hang him up and he just slumped back down. Is I think they thought he was just going to kind of fall onto his shoulders, but he was handcuffed in a way that was never going to happen. So I think JR was trying to help here, because I think he was just saying that the ref's done the right thing here, because Al Snow's basically almost dead.
Yeah, good old JR. Our next match, this is a continuation of Hardcore Holly's big shot heavyweight persona that you were describing last time about he sees himself as like at the same size as like these big guys like Big Show and Kane. He's special referee here for Kane versus Big Show. It was fine. We've seen this a lot. Is this another Big Show turn? Are we on like our fourth or fifth pay-per-view, and this would be about his fourth turn? Yeah,
because I couldn't I think the crowd popped a bit for Kane, didn't they? But I kind of got it in my head, the crowd maybe always pop a bit for Kane. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't tell what Big Show was supposed to be, but then when Bob Holly gets involved, I think he's originally he hit a clothesline on Kane or something like that, and it looks like he's favouring Big Show. And then what else happens? Hardcore Holly ends up taking out the knee of Kane pretty blatantly.
Chop blocks him,
Yeah. So it's pretty clear the ref's on Big Show's side, and Big Show gets a pin win with a very quick count by Holly. X-Pac comes down, Undertaker comes down, Taker and Big Show beat down Kane. I'm thinking, then this must be then Undertaker aligning with Big Show, because we talked about this before and we thought, does this not happen a bit later? But it feels like it's very much happening now.
It must be now. Were you waiting for the glass shatter?
No.
During this?
Would have made
Austin
sense.
Spent the whole pay-per-view looking for him, and then he's out there in the ring, but it never happens.
I think I forgot that he was looking for him, even though they're pushing it in every mid-match segment.
But then he catches him coming through the curtains, I think, and busts him open.
He does,
but
kind of blindsides him.
The pop for the glass shattering would have really made sense, but hell. Next match is is a fight in the garage between Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman.
When I heard Iron Circle, my thinking was it was going to be at like a UFC cage, because I know these guys have faced each other in WWE in a UFC cage.
SummerSlam. I thought exactly the same.
Okay. So it turns out this is a parking lot, and the cars are in this circle, and the guys are fighting in between and on the cars.
Can I be honest? I did not watch this match.
I've got in my notes.
I watched Shamrock coming out, and then I thought, nah, I'm not watching this.
I've got in my notes, did I love this when I was 18? And I think Shamrock basically kicks Blackman's ass for a long time in the match. Blackman gets a steel chain, knocks down Shamrock, slams him on a car. Shamrock falls down off the car in a way that just looked really sore.
Really?
Shamrock misses a punch and his hand goes through the car window. But then, despite that, Shamrock wraps his fist with the chain, knocks down Blackman, a few more punches, then he chokes out Blackman with the chain. You hear that Shamrock won, that I wasn't sure how you win this match, this fight, but yeah, Shamrock was standing, Blackman wasn't, so that was it.
Were the crowd reacting to it? Could you hear the crowd reacting to it?
Not really, no.
I wonder if it was pre-taped.
Yeah, I think it was. All of the noise you could hear were other people in the parking lot. You could recognise some wrestlers in the parking lot, but that was the only thing I could hear.
Nonsense. Yeah. What's the obsession with trying to make things look like a legit fight?
Yeah.
In 1999. Do you think this was Shane's influence after he wanted to buy the UFC?
Maybe. Yeah.
Because they did, yeah. They've in various different guises across the years they've tried this. Mm-hmm. This whole, trying to lean into making things look real, but yeah.
Just seems like a recipe for injury.
It does. Okay. The next match is also interesting. It's another stipulation. The winners will win the rights to DX. You've got China and Mr. Ass taking on two men dressed fully in DX gear, Road Dogg and X-Pac. So I wonder who will win this one.
We were just talking on the last show about the fact DX is basically a dead brand now. But this is, I think JR keeps talking about how much it'll mean financially, because they still sell a lot of merchandise. And whoever wins this, it'll be their pockets you're lining when you buy that merch.
I can't imagine Billy Gunn or China. Well, China maybe, but I can't actually think of China, are wearing a T-shirt that was which is actually quite crazy to think about. You think they would have
I'm sure
China merchandise.
Yeah, so I think the only thing I could think of is her likeness being shown on merch with the others, like all of DX. But yeah,
they could have sold like a Bo Selecta type mask that just had her jawline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah. Would you buy that? No.
There was a bit of suggestive JR commentary at moments in the. It's like he was morphing into King. He says when China was in and needing a tag and struggling a bit, he's like, China needs ass. And then seconds later, when Road Dogg is still in there dominating, he says something like that ride wasn't even doggy style.
Oh my goodness. JR. Vince was obviously not busy at that time, was able to get back on the headset.
Yep.
He did say something. He was a bit Jekyll and Hyde. I remember thinking during this match, he said something about China. Oh my God, China's an amazing athlete. Look at her body and all that. And then suddenly he's like, you son of a bitch. Jezebel. Yeah, this is just completely dead. And I was thinking, when is Triple H showing up? But I actually forgot that Triple H and The Rock were next. I just assumed Triple H would get involved in this. But it's just guff. Like they could have. Go on.
Triple H, I'm sure, now considers this all beneath him, and having seen it and been through it, I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think it was beneath a few of them that were in the ring involved in it as well.
The thing was, I didn't mind seeing Road Dogg and Billy Gunn facing off against each other.
Yeah.
And you take the other two away from it, and it makes sense to have a grudge match between them two because they've went separate ways. One of them's still holding on to it. The other one's one king of the ring and is sort of could be shown to be moving up the way.
It's Billy Gunn against The Rock at SummerSlam, isn't it?
Aye.
So that a program like that would have surely made more sense if you wanted to. I'm done with my past. I'm moving on to bigger things. You know, it would have made sense.
God damn it! Who won it? Oh, X-Pac and Road Dogg won this, right?
Yeah.
Even though X-Pac's already had his ass beat, but he fights from underneath. This young man, he's only 45-year-old. Strap match for the number one contendership. I wonder if Triple H has cut the game interview promo thing before this pay-per-view.
Yeah, he has, because it gets mentioned. So I think Rock mentions it in his promo about sitting there crying to JR or something like that. So it's happened, and that's obviously an attempt to, I think, elevate him and put a seriousness about him. But this is weird, because we talked about this the last time. This is a strap match, but it's not a strap match. It's
like a Falls Count Anywhere tied to each other match.
Yeah. So it's not like a touch the four corners match, which
nor is it like a bull rope match either.
Yeah. It just threw me. Like, obviously, the only thing they're doing is saying you can't get that separation because the guy's going to be attached to you, basically. Although I think it looked like they were fairly easy to take off because I think they both had the strap off at one point.
Yeah, I know I'm being negative about this show, but the fact The Rock starts the match without even having the strap on him, I was just like, fuck off! I'm done with this already. Stipulations out the window.
And then at a point, Triple H takes it off as well. To get a bigger advantage. I don't mind seeing these two face each other in matches. I think they're usually quite good matches between the two, but I did think the stipulation just made a bit of a mockery of it.
I agree. We are starting to sound very old man yells at cloud, but I think again, like, you put this before the main event, this might have been better, like starting a show or something, because it's quite similar to the main event, minus the chaos at the end. They do the usual main event Attitude Era stuff, fighting a way out in the crowd and fighting a way up the aisle and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of felt like we're getting, normally it'd be a good thing, saying we're getting a double main event, but not when it's kind of the same match. Over and over.
Gotta get a bit of nonsense to bring this towards its conclusion. You got China distracting the ref. Billy Gunn comes in with a club and smashes Rock in the head with it. Rock still manages to kick out. Low blow by the Rock, people's elbow. He had to take the strap off for that. Billy Gunn uses the strap to break the cover. Rock hits rock bottom on Gunn, but he walks right into the pedigree just after that. So Triple H gets the win and a title shot at SummerSlam, and King is yapping away that Triple H did that all by himself.
I take it that's why we get Rock, Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
All I can remember about that is he brings like a really weird looking woman.
Yeah, because I think it's a kiss my ass match, but the thing, Billy Gunn's like, once I beat you, it's not my ass you're kissing, it's this large.
In my head,
it's
ass. Like Stifler's mum that he brings out, but
I think it's just a large woman. Is what I remember. But I think, like, I don't know if The Rock's about to go away and do something else again or anything like that, because it does feel like they've made an attempt to remove him from the top of the card and need to have him doing something else for now.
And the elevation of Triple H is well and truly on.
Yeah.
The difference between him here and even at like WrestleMania 15 is pretty large and quite impressive.
Yeah,
to have been able to change him that quickly and elevate him that quickly.
He's found that character. He's found the game character, and it's just brought something different and something a bit more convincing to be at the top of the card.
But as we know from watching WCW 1998, he's just being Shane.
Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas
from
1988.
Yeah, he's been watching some Shane Douglas. He's put that in. It's worked for him. Fair play.
Absolutely. Yep. And that takes us to the main event. I didn't quite appreciate is Vincent? Is Vince the referee? Aye.
So.
Oh no, he's on commentary, isn't he?
He's making his way down to the ring, but he's on crutches. And I think JR said a road traffic accident, so he's going to be a guest commentator for the match.
Right.
JR starts immediately tearing into Howard Finkel for being a stooge. I don't even have in my notes what Finkel was doing. I don't know if he held the ropes open for him or something like that. But
right.
Yeah.
JR does kind of blur the lines between what's actually his opinion on things and what's part of the story. So both guys, we've got a first blood match. Both guys have been burst open. Austin's got a huge plaster on his forehead. We're told Undertaker's had it like what does Vince say? He says like he's had it locked up or something like that. He says
he's walking about, I think, with a rag that you can see blood on, but there is no blood visible on him. I was thinking, see, for the both of them being busted open, do you think they used fake blood rather than anyone bleeding?
That's a good question, because I thought both times, especially Undertaker, does he get busted open by... Oh no, he gets busted open by... one of them must get busted open in the ring. It is Undertaker, aye. The camera pans away from him for ages, but all the crowd are watching what he's doing.
Right,
like all the front row, so I assumed he's bleeding, but that must be a second time. You may be right.
Yeah, because I just thought it'd be a hell of a risk, because if you have bleeded fairly close before that and they get it sealed, one punch and that could just be reopened so easily.
Yeah. When Austin does that drop toe hold to Undertaker and he goes down, like I was thinking, how can you possibly guarantee that he's not going to hit his head?
I was waiting for, because I think he's done it in the past where JR said something like, we're not talking about just like a little prick that's causing some blood. It's got to be, a proper amount of blood that the ref can see. And I thought, is he just trying to make sure, just in case somebody sees a tiny wee cut or something like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they get away with it, I think, through the course of this match until it needs him to be busted open. But there's a lot of there's stuff into the announce table. There's the steps. I think the steps would be fairly blunt, but they'll have a wee bit of impact if you get hit by them. And you're just kind of, I was watching, just kind of almost thinking, it'd be really funny if it did happen accidentally.
Yeah.
I think what did we get? Taker's, he's all about knocking down refs these days, like just deliberately, just like, I'm done with this ref. Yeah. I think Taker gets his arms tied up in the ropes. Austin has a chair.
Andre style.
Yeah. Taker's looking like a sitting duck, but Shane O'Mac runs down, eats the chair shot himself, and Austin just starts then pummeling Shane. Taker frees himself from the ropes. There's an exposed turnbuckle. Low blow Austin. Vince is up, swinging his crutches towards Austin from outside the ring. God, he really commits to everything to do with Austin. Austin knocks out Vince, gets another chair. I think Taker uses a chair on Austin, but not on the head, which I thought, that's a silly move. Back. I was thinking, you're costing yourself here. Now, what I did not expect was a run-in by X-Pac.
Yeah, same.
Do you have any memory of that?
No, I'm like, what are they telling us here? the X-Pac's now involved in the main event scene. No, not at all.
Kicks a chair back into Undertaker's face, and Austin at this point has the TV camera. He swings the camera into the face of Undertaker. Taker's bleeding as the ref comes to in the corner. Taker's about to tombstone Austin, but the ref can now, he's up and he can see the blood on the head. Hebner calls for the bell. Austin wins. Taker knocks down Hebner again.
I feel like Hebner considered not calling the match. He was like looking at Undertaker for ages. Like, should I? I feel like I'm going to get killed here. But yeah, and it then pops off after that, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, we've got Vince McMahon on his last ever appearance on TV. It's what we're being told, and he's going to get a stunner. He walks into these things. He seems to think, "Oh, Austin's suddenly wanting to, be nice to me," and then
shake my hand.
Just walks into these stunners. And I think Triple H comes down, tries to get the beat down on Austin. Obviously, we know he's due to be facing him for the title next. Rock comes down, gets in the brawl with Triple H. Taker chair shot to Austin. It's kind of carnage as we go home from this. But yeah, I think it was. I think Vince gets another stunner. I think it's a second.
He does. One. Yeah. I like Austin Undertaker. I think that's an underrated. They seem to work quite well. I like Austin tearing about, saying, "Where are you, you big dead son of a bitch," and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, interesting that Rock came back out. I thought that was funny because obviously you have to have somebody to come to Austin's aid, but Triple H jumping him sort of makes sense to take the rivalry somebody else or take the story forward. But I enjoyed the main event. I think without the main event, I would have
there weren't many
cancelled my Netflix subscription.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't an easy watch, that show.
So yeah, okay, we're definitely going to SummerSlam. Do you want me to run through SummerSlam before we talk about Raven?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a lineup. Okay, a Eurocontinental match: D'Lo Brown versus Jeff Jarrett. Okay. A World Tag Team Title. Hold on, let me put my teeth in. A World Tag Team Title #1 contendership tag team turmoil match. Draws in Prince Albert, Christian and Edge, the Acolytes, the Hardy Boys, the Hollies, and the corporate ministry of Midian and Viscera.
So it's a thingy match. I forget what they're called. Winner stays on match.
Like a gauntlet.
Gauntlet match. Yeah.
Big Boss Man v Al Snow for the hardcore title. Ivory versus Tori for the women's title. Somebody's remembered that they've got a women's division. A Lion's Den weapons match between Shamrock and Steve Blackman. Yeah. Love her or leave her street fight between Shane McMahon and Test.
Oh no.
Kane and X-Pac versus The Big Show and The Undertaker for the tag team titles.
Yep.
Kiss My Ass match between The Rock and Billy Gunn. And a triple threat match for the title. Special guest ref Jesse Ventura, Austin versus Mankind versus Triple H.
My main memory from this show is that every break you've got Ventura speaking to one of them, like one of the performers being like, the pinfall's got to happen in the middle of the ring, and he just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. And my other memory, and I wonder if this will frustrate me when we get there, if you want to elevate Billy Gunn, why does this match with The Rock have to have a stipulation? Why not just have, you can still have The Rock win the match. You can have Billy Gunn, earn his respect. They go move for move. Nah.
They never did that then, roundabout then. I feel like that's an old thing and a new thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that was never done roundabout there, was it?
It's going to frustrate me. I know it is.
Yeah, I agree. It would have made... China would be with Triple H. Yeah, it would have made sense if you want to elevate Billy Gunn to have China be the guest ref here or something like that.
Yeah.
And make him chicken shit against The Rock. But
You don't need a stupid stipulation. You don't need a kiss my ass.
Certainly not a kiss my ass match. Oh well, we will. We'll see what Minnesota brings. I feel like I've pretty vivid memories of this one. I want to say it's brought to you by Chef Boyardee. That's going to be my prediction.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I like that image of Jesse Ventura. It must be his Hall of Fame thing where he says, "What did you say we put a wrestler in the White House?" It's not during this, is it?
I don't think so. No.
Just whispering conspiracies to people during the match. Isn't it? Okay, let's talk Raven. That's enough. Fully Loaded 1999. The Raven documentary, Nevermore, The Raven Effect. The IMDb synopsis says it is a deep dive into the mind of Raven, wrestler's tortured genius. Nevermore explores how one man's pain, brilliance, and chaos helped reshape pro wrestling in ECW's brutal, blood-soaked heyday. And I feel like at 2 hours long, that is only quite a small part of the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
That synopsis there, I would say it's certainly a deep dive into the mind of Scott Levy, but it's definitely covering the span of his career, even pre-wrestling to now. So I suppose first things first, what do you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I think my only issue with it, I didn't really feel like it felt like 2 hours when I was watching it. I thought it went pretty quickly, and I felt like it could have been like a docu-series. Like, I felt like there was a lot more could have been dug into, because there's quite a few bits in it that are brief, but I understand why they have to be brief. The guy had a long career. But yeah, I thought there was a lot in there. I thought it's interesting hearing him speak, because you've heard him in character, across multiple promotions. You've kind of assumed frustrations he had and things he enjoyed. It's really interesting, I thought, hearing him speak about, what he enjoys in the business, what was difficult for him, and some of the things I got the impression he still struggled to speak about, I thought were interesting as well.
Totally in agreement. My big takeaway from this was this should have been a series. There's so much more that it felt like it could, that it touched on that I would have liked to heard so much more about. There was bits and pieces. He did a lot. He worked a lot of independence throughout the sort of early 2000s that I would have really liked to have heard about that they didn't touch on. I found all the stuff about him and the pictures of him as a young man, like, quite, well, it's definitely interesting to see his character as a young man, the sort of cocky, big, jacked sort of looking guy that he was. I found all that quite funny. He looked like, I suppose what I'd describe as like quite dangerous. I think if you'd saw him, you'd think, oh my God, I'm staying away from that guy. I enjoyed that. I thought like the stuff pre Johnny Polo was really interesting. It looked to me like he was making quite good impression in WCW. Was that Scotty Flamingo?
Yeah, Scotty Flamingo in WCW, then Johnny
before
Polo.
Johnny Polo.
Yeah.
And the stuff before that as well. I can't remember what his ring name was. Scotty something.
Yeah.
I want to say Scotty Too Hot. It definitely wasn't that, but it wasn't that. He
yeah.
was doing a sort of gimmick where he was portraying himself as like this massive guy when he wasn't. He's obviously, I think it's a bit of a cliche to say, oh, Raven's so intelligent. He clearly is unbelievably intelligent, but like massively flawed. And it feels like listening to him talking now in this documentary, I assume 2024, 2025, that he's come to terms with, had to come to terms with like a lot of things that he didn't achieve, which must be such a hard thing to swallow, I would imagine. And hearing him talking about it and how at ease he seems with it was like enjoyable to watch.
I think one of the things that I didn't know about, so he goes to WWE from WCW, and basically Vince doesn't see him as being an in-ring wrestler, doesn't think he has the size, and it's very much a size situation at that point in time. But he can talk, and he wants to take advantage of the fact he can talk. So he's doing commentary, and he's also being a manager. And what I didn't realise is he's like behind the scenes, like contributing to storylines and writing and things like that, and coming up with ideas. And I had no idea he did any of that certainly during that period of time in his career. But it seems like it started happening really quickly from when he got there, which doesn't strike me as something that would be normal. Like, we obviously know there's Vince, there's Pat Patterson, there's Bruce Pritchard, and you've had guys like Jake the Snake in roles contributing ideas and bits of story, and you've had Paul Heyman and all that. But they were pretty established. Whereas it seems like he's gone in really young, and in terms of the business on a grand scale, really inexperienced, and they've been listening to him and wanting him in a role like that, which it really surprised me.
In his 20s, based on what it seemed to be, it seems like he had a great relationship with Vince, I think. I don't remember if they touched on the documentary. I think they did, but definitely in other interviews he's done, he was really good friends with Shane, I think. Did he talk about getting a bit of heat for that? Yeah,
he talked about like having him out all night and stuff like that. And quite a few times Shane would phone Vince and be like, "Yeah, I'm not coming home tonight. I'm just going to hang with Raven." I think Vince is like, or wouldn't have been Raven at that time, but I think Vince was like, okay.
And I wonder if, cause I agree with you, that does seem like an anomaly and very much exception. I wonder if he's burned bridges by deciding that he wanted to go back and wrestle. They don't really touch on that in the documentary as far as the reaction to him wanting to go back to ECW to wrestle, do they?
Yeah, they didn't, because I suppose it would have ended up being a huge gap, wouldn't it, before he came back in like 2001 or 2002. And I think we got to see or hear the letter he wrote to Vince, basically like saying, "I thank you for everything, but I want to be a wrestler, so I need to go." I would imagine, much as Vince is in many ways an asshole, he would probably respect that.
I would have thought so as well, but they didn't really touch on it, and the letter that he wrote seemed very respectful.
Probably, he is definitely intelligent. I think he would have been, even if he was frustrated, which he clearly was in a lot of ways, I think he would have been too intelligent to burn all the bridges at that point in time.
I just think if he'd been in again, like it's like we've talked about wrestlers before that are in the wrong time, and it seems like he was in WWE, WWF in the wrong time. Because years later he would have been, who knows what he might have been.
I suppose the thing would have been, I think he talks a lot about Raven being the character that felt closest to him, because they do a bit of, I think is it DDP? It's DDP that he sat with, speaking to about DDP, giving a lot of the ideas for what he thought the right character would be, and then he starts kind of creating that. Certainly in the time he was there, if they had used him in the ring, there would never have been a Raven type character, I don't think. I think that would have been probably beyond what any of the guys working there could have understood as being a viable 100%. Character.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it works perfectly. There's like perfect alignment between the Raven character and sort of being the like the sort of grunge character in alignment with ECW and hardcore and underground and all that sort of stuff. It wouldn't have fit.
Perfect.
You're not going to do Raven versus the Red Rooster. or Bastion Booger or something, you know what I mean? I
was quite interested in hearing when he's talking about his first being brought into WCW as the Scotty Flamingo character. It's like a surfer dude, I think.
Yeah,
by the sound
that's
of
right.
It. And he hated it, but because it's Dusty Rhodes and he was his hero, he's like, I see you as this. He's like, fine, I can see myself as that then. If you're saying that it's that, then it's that. And he had an early match with Brian Pillman and one got put over clean. And I thought, I bet that'd be quite an interesting match to see. Like a very, very young Scotty Flamingo up against Brian Pillman.
Imagine established Pillman. Imagine Loose Cannon versus Raven.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that would work nicely as well.
Yeah.
It takes us into ECW. We get a lot of ECW footage. We go into the feud with Tommy Dreamer, the feud with Sandman. I love the stuff with Sandman's kid and all that, and him dressing like Raven. I want to ask you, because I've experienced this watching this and the Dark Side of the Ring. There's something about Sandman now that makes me wildly uncomfortable watching him talking even.
Yeah, like I know what you mean. He's like, because the character he always played, he'd drink beer, he'd be quite clearly out of it, he'd be smashing the cans up against his head, bleeding like hell, having these bloody brutal matches. There's something quite, a lot of the time, quite like jovial and jokey about him when he's sitting, and I noticed it on Dark Side of the Ring as well. I think it maybe I've a feeling he's laughing through a lot of the New Jack episode, which is quite something. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's something just a wee bit unsettling.
And they then go on to talk about this situation where Sandman ODs in the back of a car. I think he's egged on to basically OD by a bunch of them in the car, and they're laughing about it. Who's it? Oh, they're saying it was like Rhino's first ever night riding with them or something like that. And he's a rookie, and he comes storming into the arena and tells Paul Heyman that Sandman's died.
Yeah, he's like, I'm never riding with those guys again. And he starts listing all the things, and one of them's just, Sandman's dead. What?
And then Sandman comes in dressed in his gown, and he's done a runner from the hospital after they revived him. Says that he got Pulp Fictioned, and he goes on, and they show him going out to the ring, and he's smashing his head with a beer and all that, and he's literally died hours before.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
It's absolutely wild. There should be some sort of feature about Sandman somewhere, because I'd be terrified but intrigued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there must be a million more ECW stories like that. I think that's what we're both referring to, is like we could do with more about all of it, about that early time in WWF, and hearing a bit more about some of the stuff that he worked on backstage, and the stuff that he did with the Quebecers and all that. He talks a bit about, like, he's like, I was never Johnny Polo. Shane McMahon was Johnny Polo. That's who he was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to hear more about that. And obviously, he goes from ECW to WCW. It seems like he absolutely burned bridges with Paul Heyman and some of the other ECW guys on the roster there. And I think there's so much to dig into in WCW as well. He's sort of, I don't know, like when we were watching it, he was portrayed, I always feel like he was mid-card, but he was a bit of a, what's the word? An attraction.
Mm-hmm.
He was an attraction, but he was very mid card as well.
Yeah.
We were never at a point where we thought Raven was going to be in the main event scene or anything.
No, yeah, and it's frustrating because he was so different. That character wasn't a WCW character. That was a ECW character suddenly landing in WCW.
Dropped in, aye.
Yeah, and all of the cool things that could have happened with that when you think about it, but just didn't, because he was just seen as this level. He got given his flock. He had this flock in WCW, but again, that didn't seem like it had the purpose of building him to anywhere else. It was almost like it's something for him to just do.
Aye.
Yeah.
And to be able to give him the opportunity to just sit in the ring whilst others did his bidding and all that stuff. By the way, Perry Saturn.
Oh my God. Yeah, it took me, I was looking thinking, who is that? And it's like, it's Perry Saturn. Yeah. Having heard some absolute horror stories, he may be doing better than I thought, to be honest. Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard living on the streets and, I just assumed. I think I probably went in my mind to he's maybe non-verbal by now, but yeah, he's doing better than that.
That's crazy. That's a shame.
Yeah.
He was always a bit of a loose cannon. Generally, it appeared, didn't he? Go mad on somebody and batter them.
Yeah, I think someone
on Tough Enough.
Yeah, it was either Tough Enough or it was just an enhancement talent. But someone pissed him off, and he was a good wrestler. He was when they brought in those four. Obviously, Benoit and Guerrero went, right to the top in WWE. But
are you suggesting the ladies' man Dean Malenko gimmick was not right to the top?
I mean, he was kind of sort of pigeonholed into European or Intercontinental title level, but yeah, ladies' man Dean Malenko. But yeah, I always remember hearing, I think it was the first episode that they did of Something to Wrestle, and it was Bruce Pritchard talking about those guys coming in, and Conrad Thompson said to him, so who did, obviously we know what happened career-wise, but who did you think? And he was like, I thought Perry Saturn, because the look he had is something nobody else had. And we thought that's the guy you could see on the poster. And you can kind of see what he's saying, but yeah, I assume there were other factors that probably stopped any push he could have got.
Yeah, well, he seemed to be. He was enjoying giving us some backstage stories about Raven as well. But yeah, it's a shame we've both come away feeling like that. I suppose it's a sign that something was enjoyable to watch. He's I feel like I could watch him just talking about anything. He's really interesting to listen to. I really like the bits and pieces that we saw of him coaching talent and working with various people, like the stuff. Was it Sammy Callahan and Moose? They had in TNA, they had what was the thing that he created? Was it like Clockwork Orange match or something like that?
That sounds right, yeah.
And they showed us, they were both basically it was kind of like two siblings trying to impress their dad before their match.
Yeah. It was quite funny because I think at a point they're basically running through the match to him in terms of what it's going to be, and then I think it gives you the clip backstage after the match has taken place, and he's, I think, basically congratulating them, but there was definitely a point where they were like, and then we go, and that's the finish. And I think so there was clearly a lot going on in this match, and when he said that's the finish, Raven was like, okay, good. I hoped you were going to say that. So he'd obviously thought maybe could have finished it a wee bit before. But yeah, I it just shows the respect I think other workers would have for his mind in terms of the talent he's got. Because they show him doing TNA stuff, and then is it MLW stuff as well, which I didn't know he'd had any involvement in. I think we see a few years younger anyway, Jacob Fatu, being involved in an angle with him, and everyone just seems that you see him with, that's a younger talent, seems to be happy to have that opportunity of just getting to work with him, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose we've not even touched on. Yeah, we're going to TNA there. We've not really touched on the WWE run, which was post Invasion, and I don't think I appreciated at the time that they were doing this whole thing where he was quite pissed off about his position on the card and things like that. I suppose I probably never watched that much of it because he was on heat so much.
Yeah, I didn't really remember that, and I thought it would have been an interesting thing if they'd committed to it, if they'd gone on it all in with that, because it's a guy who's basically landed there maybe because there's nowhere else for him to go and work at that point in time, and he's just being used in the hardcore matches, which I think is a very easy. You were in ECW, right? You'll go into that, and it's not really taking advantage of the wider skill set that he had. So I think if they'd just gone with that and given it some screen time and prominence, it could have been something interesting.
Was it on the documentary he mentions that he didn't think that he didn't like the hardcore stuff? Yeah. He didn't think they did it right. Mm-hmm. It didn't need to be what it became. Yeah. You know, I thought that insight was interesting. Mm-hmm. And I think he cited a match him and Rhino had for the hardcore title, and it just been in the ring. Mm-hmm. And Rhino does something Rhino gores himself inside a shopping trolley.
Yeah.
And I again, interesting to get that insight, and I'm sure we've spoken about this before, the hardcore title could have been something that it didn't become again, it became sort of comic-y and nonsensical.
Yeah. It was a bit of a shame. I understand why, because he's a full-time employee with WWE. I thought it was a bit of a shame Paul Heyman wasn't a talking head, because he's talked about, I think he said, did he leave ECW twice? I think he left ECW twice, I think.
Yes, because did he get out his WCW contract and go back to ECW?
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah. And I think he said it was just never the same, the relationship with him and Paul Heyman after the first time he'd left. He obviously worked with him, but I think he felt like they were close, and that was kind of gone by that point. Thought it would have been interesting to hear, and not in character, Paul Heyman just talking to that, being I get the feeling that it was almost like a kind of a band of brothers in ECW.
Oh, 100%.
That's what it seems like and sounds like, and just that, hearing that insight from him in terms of how that affected him when Raven was like, I'm gone, I'm done. I felt like that would have been interesting, but I never for a second expected to see him on it, because he's under full-time contract and they are not involved in this documentary in any kind of a direct way. But the talking heads they did have, I thought some of them were good and interesting. It just felt like could have had somebody like him, it would have been interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear, Jericho. I think he basically said Raven was a pain in the ass, and pretty much most talking heads said that about him, which I thought was, admirable to have that in your documentary about yourself. Yeah, Dreamer was pretty forthcoming about that as well, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It kind of took me back to, I was watching over the festive time a documentary about Chevy Chase, who has had his issues in his career with various people, and there was a Dan Aykroyd segment where he still worked with him beyond Saturday Night Live when they broke out and all that, and he was like, you're probably going to hear a lot in this documentary that Chevy Chase is a prick. And he's like, and Chevy Chase is a genius, but he's also a prick. Yeah, okay, that's when you can be both, Yeah.
Who else did we have? With Billy Corgan, talking about him.
Yeah.
The way that Billy Corgan was talking about him was very much as like, this guy's an artist, and he's clearly a huge admirer of him, and he seemed to be talking about like the way that wrestling fans talk about Raven, like he was wasted in what he did.
One of the things Billy Corgan said made me laugh, which is he said something like ECW were using unlicensed music, but if Raven was using your music unlicensed, you just kind of you didn't do anything because it's just cool.
What he was going to somewhere. He was doing like one of these signing conventions things, and there was little bits of footage dotted through the documentary. They kicked off with it. He's walking in, and like, he bumps into was it Vampiro? He bumps into. He's quite Raven, quite unassuming. He's just like, hey man, and just like shakes people's hands and all that sort of stuff. And that surprised me. I thought he would either be like head down, not speaking to people, or like big man. He's probably like one of the bigger stars and names to be at these things, but I found it quite interesting that he was neither, and he was just like quite respectful and just saying, hello, and shaking hands and stuff. It was quite an interesting thing to see.
I would have been the same. I kind of maybe thought to myself, is he the kind of guy who would go to a convention and just think, I am the biggest star here? So but I think he does talk about at times how he thought he was the biggest star at events and at things, but it doesn't seem to affect his behaviour when he's in there with the people. So
what do you think of his going back to what I was saying earlier, he talks about therapy and coming to terms with the fact that his wrestling career's not been successful, and he felt that, was it WCW he was saying that he felt, or was it WWF he was saying he felt he should have been a upper mid carder or a main eventer?
Was I think it's when he was talking WCW.
It?
Yeah, he talked about they talked a little bit about that funny thing about he appeared on the video game packaging design, and it was like, did he say it was Hogan, Nash, Goldberg and him or something like that? It's like three absolute, they are on the top of the card, and then it's me, and he seemed a little bit confused as to why it was him. And he's like, because they didn't really push me in that way, but he also talked about having, he felt like the problem was, obviously they were pushing the guys they wanted to push, but he couldn't make himself a push because none of them were interested in his creative ideas. So he said that there would be periods of time where you could just kind of do what you want because nobody's paying attention to these segments, but there's a ceiling to that, and it's going to be like, yeah, but if you're interacting with that guy, you can't be doing this or saying that or anything like that.
That's right. Yeah. That's something you've heard Jericho say as well about WCW. You could basically do what you wanted, but then when he got the chance to work with Goldberg, it was like, no.
Yeah.
I think, we talked about like potential that it could have been done this, that, we're talking about higher power the other week there, and it wouldn't have been interesting if it had been Raven, but I wonder how difficult it is to do these sort of interviews and all that, and people say like, you're so underrated and you should have been more, and that must be quite a hard thing to hear quite a lot, although it's like people are obviously being genuine, and that's flattering, I would guess, but it must be quite hard, I guess, to hear as well.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of these guys, once you go into what is like it's a competitive business. It's not sport, but how good you are still will reflect your status and how much you get paid. And it can be good in terms of in-ring work or character or whatever. And it felt like he ticked a lot of the boxes. So I wonder, that he was certainly one of the top guys in ECW, but they were third at that point in time. I couldn't really remember how he was positioned in TNA, whether he was positioned as a top guy or just below maybe the top guys.
A lot of his stuff was Abyss adjacent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The stuff that we saw, he was in Monsters Balls. He also was involved. Remember, they did like a Young Pups of TNA versus the, like, were they called like Extreme 2.0 or something like that?
Yeah,
they did like a whole ECW revival type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like that's what they were doing in MLW as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff he was involved with.
Yeah, it looked like that. Yeah. I found some of the way he spoke about some things in just kind of a throwaway, nonchalant way. When he's talking about some of the emotional stuff, I think he's talking about he was very keen to point out that he felt like he shouldn't complain about his childhood because he didn't suffer any abuse or anything like that. He just didn't feel loved. And it's like, and then you start hearing some of the things. And did he have a sister who I think was speaking on it as well? And it's just like, it wasn't that kind of family. It just wasn't. And you're like, yeah, that'd be tough. But then he's also talking about having a breakdown and basically losing himself in the Raven character and needing to go to rehab. Interesting. Yeah, but he just says it in a kind of a nonchalant, yeah, that happened, and you're like, right? So that's just every day to you. That's just, I think that's quite interesting.
I think that shows someone that seems quite that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, it's quite nice to hear him talk about some of that stuff, the way he's talking about, because that strikes me as somebody that's quite at peace with who they are and what they've went through and all that sort of stuff. He's
dealt with it, he's processed it, and he's comfortable with where he's at. Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. It's almost like everything that he talks about is all at the same pace and all at the same sort of cadence, and it's all very like chuckle. This happened.
Yeah. He talked a bit about I think you always think about this, but I thought he explained it in quite a interesting way when people talk about and question the drug culture in wrestling, and especially a lot's pointed at his time in ECW and basically everyone being on drugs in that period of time. But when he talks about there is no health insurance for your promoter, but at the same time there's no pension plan, so you have to keep working. If you're not working, you're not getting paid. So like that sort of cycle that you get caught up in. Well, how I've no health insurance, I can't take time off, so how do I deal with this? I need to self-medicate. That's how I deal with it, and that's how I keep going. Not just like the way he explained it was quite good. So I think we all know the situations and why a lot of them get caught up in that, but just hearing that sort of cycle of the way things work.
And it must be so hard not be so bitter and look on the TV and look at deals with Netflix, and like you hear, I don't know if you ever heard Brett saying, like, I never got the chance to go and wrestle in Saudi Arabia and make 10 million. It must be so hard not to be bitter. I don't get the impression Raven is, and I think he talks about he's done all right with his money and all that sort of thing, and he's quite content in his life and all that sort of stuff, which I probably didn't expect to hear going into that documentary.
Same. I think I expected quite a lot of bitterness. Yeah,
and I think I'd been saying, like, I feel like this is going to be quite similar to the Vampiro documentary, and in some aspects it is a little bit, but in other aspects definitely not. Definitely different perspectives on the wrestling career and lifestyle. Definitely would recommend it for fans to watch. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it was. There's some funny stories in there as well to kind of balance things out, which probably I think people need to hear it straight from the horse's mouth rather than me try to repeat any of them. Some of the stories that Perry Saturn's coming out with about him and Raven, really really quite something.
The way in which I get the impression he's like Dawson on somebody else's couch telling the stories as well, which kind of adds to it as well.
Yeah. I did. I felt like I learned quite a lot, but it didn't take away from the fact I just felt like there was so much more in there.
Mm-hmm. That's maybe no bad thing.
Were you expecting to see Shane Douglas?
No,
I wasn't. Yeah, I was quite surprised to see him.
Aye, he bumps into him at the convention. He was not a talking head or anything, was he?
No. I think they caught a little bit of just chat between the two of them as they were at that convention. Because Shane Douglas was basically putting him over for his charisma and stuff like that.
Nice.
I think I would have expected Sandman and Tommy Dreamer, and they were two of the most prominent, and we got a fair bit from RVD, actually. He was on a few segments.
What was RVD? Where was he? Who let him be on camera with just his bare feet? And what was he doing?
Yeah. There was, right towards the end, there was debate about, I think they posed the question to Raven himself about whether he deserves a Hall of Fame place, and he wasn't, I think, wanting to be the guy that was saying, well, yeah, I do, because he's just talked about the fact that he felt like he was a failure in his career. But with some of the folk that are in there, that wouldn't be a question mark, would it? I would have thought that's a fairly straightforward one, that at some point his time will come and he'll go in.
I just think, what validity does the WWE Hall of Fame actually have?
Yeah.
I feel like there must be the opportunity. There is other Hall of Fames.
There are, yeah.
What do you call it again? Like the Cauliflower
Alley
one.
Yeah.
There's a Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, I think, as well, but I think that's based on votes, and obviously any Hall of Fame is based on votes, but there must be, and I think that the Cauliflower Alley one does have quite a lot of credibility.
Yeah, I think
get that impression.
I think it's one that a lot of the guys in the business care about, like want to be in, want that call. I think there's a knowledge that for the WWE one, if maybe having a documentary out there might help you. You know, if there's something that happens that puts you back in a little bit of spotlight, that's maybe when they're more likely to make the call. Because we saw it happening for Jake the Snake after the DDP documentary. And I think there's also the feeling that they would maybe be like, well, we've only room for one guy from that particular era because we also need a tag team. We need a guy from decades ago that's going to be a posthumous inductee, and then somebody who's just retired, and stuff like it. Feels like it's a bit that kind of game.
We need to make room for Michelle McCool this year, I'm afraid. So, no luck. And Undertaker's cousin would like to go in next year as well. So,
why the hell not? Yeah,
that's it. But yeah, I wonder if that's becoming more and more of a centre. I don't. Who knows? I mean, I would guess being inducted in the Hall of Fame is a potential future earner for people, and if that's the case, then fair play. If if that's something you are trying to.
I've no issue with people, accepting it, turning up, smiling, doing their little speech and things like that. That's fine. It's more just but why? Why them? Why them right now? Yeah.
It does seem like you need to be on good terms with them, otherwise I would guess that's why they'll talk about Jericho coming back. I assume that's why, because he'll want to get a Hall of Fame.
Come back, go in. Yeah. I think did they show him is he like doing podcasts, and does he have a podcast these days, I think, Raven, which I've never looked for, I've never tried to seek out. I imagine he's quite a good storyteller, depending on it would depend what the subject is, whether I would be interested in it, but there must be quite a large audience out there that would want to listen to a Raven podcast.
Well, yeah, I would think so, and so afterwards, we've probably been thinking the same thing. I went and listened to a few episodes. It's very much a shooting the shit, talking nonsense, all over the place sort of thing. It's not like this sort of deep breakdown of wrestling psychology or anything like that. He doesn't watch wrestling.
Right.
He really likes MMA. He likes watching UFC. But he just does not care. His co-anchors try to talk to him about it. The one that I listened to is right when Punk returned at the Survivor Series after all his AEW stuff and that.
Yeah.
And his co-host talk about having this conspiracy, he tried to get himself fired, and Raven's like, why should I care about this though? Because I do not care about this at all, and I don't want to speak about it or listen to you talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
But it never came across like a bitter thing or anything like that. It just seemed like he's genuinely not interested.
Yeah, fair enough. I think if it'd probably be worse if he was trying to force it and talk about it when he's not interested. So yeah, at least he's being genuine and authentic about that.
Yeah. Some of the podcasts, the titles, the subjects of the podcasts are very interesting.
You sent me a screenshot, I think, of
comical. Yeah. Did it make you want to? Did it make you think, I'd quite like to watch some old ECW or anything like that?
In a way, but then I saw pictures of folk getting like pile driven through tables and stuff, and I was like, I don't know. I did get a wee bit sad when I saw, I think it was in background archive footage, I saw Sabu. And I think he was also at a convention, one of the ones that Raven
That's
walked
right, he
into.
saw him outside, didn't he?
And I thought, I wonder when that was filmed, because it may not have been too far away from Sabu passing away. And that made me feel a wee bit sad.
There's a guy I would also watch a documentary on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd love to. Like, I feel like you don't know much about Sabu.
I was listening to an episode. Bruce Pritchard's back, so JBL's not doing that podcast anymore.
Oh, right, okay.
But I was listening to an episode, and there was a Royal Rumble. They're doing Royal Rumbles just now, just because it's building up to the Royal Rumble, and they were talking about one in like 2001 or 2000, I think it was. And Sabu was in ECW and had a fairly big name, and there were a few of the creative team wanted to try and, because they were on very good terms with Heyman while they were bankrolling him, wanted to try and get Sabu in the Rumble. So Bruce Pritchard got a number for him, and he said, so I called it, and he said, this is Sabu, and he's like, it's Bruce Pritchard. We'd really like to bring you in to work in the Rumble. He's like, don't want to lie to you, you're not going to win, but we thought it'd be great to have you showcased and all that. And Sabu said, okay, let me just put you on to the Sheik, who's was it his uncle? The Sheik?
His uncle, yeah.
And the Sheik was like, and when would he enter? And is he going to be the Iron Man? And is he going to win? And all that. And Pritchard's like, no, he's not going to win. We see him doing some spots because he's really entertaining. He's like, my nephew is not going to show up just to boost your ratings unless he's going to really make a mark. And Pritchard's like, I can't speak to you anymore. If you want to put Sabu back on the phone, I'll speak to him, but I'm not speaking to you anymore. And, like, he just had an absolute nightmare with it. So at the end, I think he went back to Vince. It's like, I think we could maybe bring him in, but it's going to be a pain in the arse because Sabu, and they're like, no, I'm just not bothering this. Poor Sabu got his possible Rumble showcase next because his uncle was
took over.
Just being difficult. But yeah, it's I know he obviously, I think he really looked up to the Sheik, so I think he just trusted him. But I wonder if there was a documentary, if he maybe held him back on a few instances. But yeah, there's
sorry.
I think Sheik, Sabu and Sandman would be the ones I would be really, really interested to see.
Nah, I'm not watching the Sandman one. You could put that in the horror section.
I need to know more.
He's terrifying. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's maybe just smiling through the pain sort of thing.
That was the thing I was remembering about because I went back and watched a few Dark Side of the Rings that I'd seen before, and I was watching the New Jack one, and Sandman has just watched video of New Jack stabbing a guy in the ring, and also the video of him throwing the guy off the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And then they're like, so apparently, what was it? The young guy that he cut up.
Mass Transit.
So he's watched through all of these clips, and they're like, so yeah, apparently this guy wanted to get his shit in, and Sandman starts laughing. And he goes, so that's what pissed New Jack off. Okay, it all makes sense now. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like,
it all makes sense now. Oh, man.
Yeah. Funny guys, wrestlers.
Definitely. Yeah, it's amazing to think that Paul Heyman managed to sort of herd these lot, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when all these stories, I was thinking that when you were saying about Heyman, it'd be nice to hear him out of character. But I don't think he does out of character, Heyman. I also think it's so rich to hear that he was maybe a little cold with Raven and all that. Like, it seems like Heyman screwed over everybody he's came in contact with.
Yeah, and when he knew the company was going under, he got himself a job at WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be, going back to I was saying to you, did it make you want to watch some ECW? It did make me want to watch it, but I don't think it'll be as... It's that thing of like seeing clips and seeing short bite size, and even hearing people talk about it. It's probably more entertaining now to be able than watching it.
Yeah.
I did love the little bits and pieces they showed with Raven sort of corrupting Sandman's son.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was on this that we heard from Sandman's son, wasn't it? He's like a grown man now. He's like, I don't really know what was going on there.
Doing what they're telling me. Yeah, it was funny. You think about, these ideas. I'm not saying they were the first one to come up with any of these ideas, but a lot of these kind of ideas did appear on WWE through time. Yeah,
and that's where I felt the documentary verged into going into an ECW documentary. As far they were asking Sandman, like, Stone Cold basically stole your gimmick, and he was like, yeah, which I never saw that being one of those ones. But clearly WWF took a lot from ECW and Attitude Era and all that, but I never saw Austin being one of them.
Nah, I think Austin, he drank the beer, and that was pretty much the end of it. I think everything else, I mean, would they both being a bit loudmouth? Yes, but I think that's a bit... I don't think that's a link and a connection. Presentation of the two of them was totally different. Yeah.
So yeah, I would actually, like, now we've talked about it, I'd probably go back and I'd quite like to watch it again. I was unwell whilst I watched it. I was sort of nodding off and stuff like that, but I'd probably go and watch it again. I think I really enjoyed it, and I've since watched Ravens obviously doing the rounds to promote it. So I listened to the conversation he had with Chris Van Vliet, which was enjoyable, and I listened to another one. It was maybe on Russo. Why would I have done that? He was on. I'm sure he was on Russo's podcast.
Okay.
I can't imagine if this sat through. He was on Talk is Jericho as well, and that was enjoyable too.
Yeah, he was on Kevin Nash as well.
That's what it was. That's what I listened to. Yeah.
Definitely well worth watching. Good insights. There's definitely more there, but good insights. And in a way, I think disappointing to hear how he reflects on his career, but in another way, good to hear that he seems to be at peace with it all.
It's turned it around, 100%.
Yeah.
More independent wrestling documentaries, please. That's what I would like.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Yeah, because these WWE fluff ones are just... They're
not worth watching. I mean, you're only going to get told what they want you to hear.
Yeah, I can only really think of this one and the Vampiro one Obviously, I don't think he was in WWF ever, but as ones that we've watched and talked about, there's obviously good content creators on YouTube these days that do really good stuff as well and put together sort of stories of people's careers and that. But
yeah.
More independent wrestling docs, please.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think we maybe talked more Raven than we did Fully Loaded, did we?
I think that was deserved.
That's fair.
He earned it, yeah.
He earned it. Shout out to Raven.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you'll be listening, Scott, with your high IQ and your Hawaiian shirts. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Are we going to pair SummerSlam up with and you've done your Chevy Chase one? Maybe we could maybe we could what? Do you know there's a Wrestling with Shadows? Am I making this up? I think there's a Wrestling with Shadows too.
Now, I've never heard of this. If you also watched this while unwell, it might not have been real.
I'm going to Google it right now, but
okay.
Right, it's going to be bullshit. I've sat through like an hour and a half full AI documentary of Bret Hart calling Goldberg an asshole. I think I may be talking complete dog shit. Oh well, never mind. If we find another good documentary, we could maybe pair SummerSlam with it. I fear that... Oh, do you know what we should watch? The Jesse Ventura Conspiracy TV show that he did.
I don't think I can do that.
Fair enough. Let's watch Predator.
Not even going to pretend.
Fair enough.
Predator.
What time of night is it? Oh, you're missing WWE Raw from Belfast Live.
Oh, damn it. That's...
sugar.
It's another Raw I've missed. It's probably about 350 and counting now.
I did try and entice you to watch Smackdown the other week when there was a 3 Stages of Hell match, didn't I? But
I did watch the 3 Stages of Hell match. I didn't watch the rest of the
Did
show.
you?
Yeah.
What did you think of it? Did you enjoy it?
I did, but why does everyone now have to wear a hoodie? What's with the black hoodie? I'd missed the whole Jacob Fatu was, I think, storyline injured by Drew McIntyre, and if I'd known that, but did he have to be wearing a hoodie? Not just have been, oh fuck, Jacob Fatu's here and he's going to fuck things up now.
Yeah, it's like they've went from every time someone comes out to interrupt something, their music needs to play for the pop, to like people now live under the ring in black hoodies.
Yeah. But I'm happy, as somebody who's a bit out of the loop, I'm happy for Drew McIntyre to get a title win with an actual crowd there. Hopefully get a few events as champion. I don't know if this just leads to a Cody winning it back from him at WrestleMania, maybe.
Oh, God. I think that would be the 3rd year in a row he'd won the Rumble if they do that again. That sounds quite Triple H, though, so...
I saw something. I occasionally check. There's a website I look at just to see what stories are going on. And I saw that there'd been an original plan to go where's all my names gone? Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And someone said that's too many. We've done this too many times now. We can't do this
for this
again.
Year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was the plan B that stopped that from happening again.
Right. McIntyre deserves to be like an A+ star.
Yeah. Give him a big Mania match and have him win. Have him keep the title. Yeah.
He seems to have went through like many years of always getting title shots and getting screwed or never winning or whatever.
And being right, but being, seen storyline wise as the guy in the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the other one they've got Punk looks really old wrestling now. Like, this is the equivalent of like Terry Funk being the WWE champion.
Yeah. I imagine it was never quite the plan, and the Rollins injury probably changed some things with that one. But then I just thought they would have, what's his name, beat him when they faced off for the title, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I thought so too. They need to just strap up Joe Hendry, give them both the titles.
I'll watch. It's the Rumble in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
See, I was all set to say I'll watch the Rumble, but I don't know what it is about it being in Saudi Arabia. It just makes it a bit less appealing for me watching.
The only good thing about, obviously, there's the moral aspect of it being in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
But the only good thing about it is that it's on at a decent time for
Well,
us.
that's true. Like pretty much every year, even if I'm tuned out, I watch the Rumble and I watch WrestleMania. So we'll see if that keeps happening.
Okay, so I wonder if we might still record before the Rumble, but just throw me out a Rumble winner.
Okay. My Rumble winner is what's his name? The Steiner boy.
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker.
I think that's a good shout. I wonder if they might have Logan Paul win the Rumble and be in a main event at WrestleMania.
Or could they have Jacob Fatu win the Rumble if he's got beef with Drew McIntyre?
Maybe. Do you know what I liked about that 3 Stages of Hell thing? And I just, when I saw that he turned up with a black hoodie, I was like, oh, come on. Like, it can't be every pay-per-view or title match or whatever. I liked that he went for Drew and he started fighting Drew, and then Cody just sort of spun him round, and he was just like a kamikaze, and he just went for him as well. I like that.
He was one of my favourites. I like him. He's an animal. He's wild. He's crazy. I like him. There's an unpredictability about things once he enters the picture, and I like that.
And I think he showed up randomly on SmackDown this week and just barred somebody.
Right. Okay.
As well, which it's that unpredictability thing.
Yeah. I'll watch it. I'll let you know my thoughts, but I'm not expecting to be blown away by the show.
It looks like they're doing they were doing a tournament to decide who faces Drew.
Okay.
At the Rumble, it looks like they're doing Sami Zayn versus Drew, which sounds about as appealing as
the Rumble winner will be against Punk then.
Well, no, that would be to face Drew at the Royal Rumble.
Oh, of course. Okay. So all options are still open for Mania.
Yeah.
Possibilities. Okay. Well, I'll let you know my thoughts when I watch it.
I don't think I think we'll record like the weekend after the Rumble or next time. So
that's fine. I can let you know what I thought.
Chris Jericho, number 30.
Is he officially away from AEW now?
I think so.
No.
Tries to do a lion salt, lands on his head, and goes home in an ambulance. That's my prediction. We've seen him do it before. Although I did see a photo of him recently, and he looks shredded. He doesn't look like the sort of plump version that seemed to be going about for a while. So.
Okay, he's obviously planning for some sort of comeback somewhere then.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right. We'll be back with the governor. Was he a governor? Whatever he was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Triple H in the main event. Yep. Wonderful.
Cool.
Can't he wait?
Excellent.
You take it easy, and we'll speak in 2 weeks.
Cheers.
Cheers.